Step back, dear. You're casting a shadow on the portrait, and quite frankly, you're lowering the property value of this entire wing. The insult was delivered with a sharp, dismissive shove. Isadora Drax, the sister of the world's most powerful shipping magnate, didn't just use her words to wound, she used her hands. As the guests gathered for the unveiling of the Drax family legacy portrait at their classic Riverside estate, Isadora lunged forward. She planted a palm firmly against the chest of Julian Sterling, pushing him backward with a violent, unprovoked force that nearly sent him tumbling into a display of Ming-era vases. Julian didn't stumble. He caught his balance, his eyes turning to ice as he looked down at the handprint on his charcoal cashmere-tailored suit. He stood like a pillar of granite amidst the sea of silk and arrogance. "Isadora," Julian said, his voice a low, vibrating hum that seemed to chill the air in the gallery. "This is a public event. I suggest you remember who is standing in this room." "I know exactly who is in this room," Isadora sneered, stepping into Julian's personal space. She didn't stop at the shove. She reached out and aggressively flicked the gold leaf program out of Julian's hand, watching it flutter to the marble floor like a wounded bird. "I see a nobody who tricked a junior clerk into giving him a VIP lanyard. My brother built a $14 billion empire so we would never have to breathe the same air as people like you. Now, find the service entrance before I have security drag you out by your cheap lapels." Around them, the elite guests, a woman in a vibrant sapphire blue gown, a man in a deep emerald green blazer, and a young executive in a mustard yellow tie, froze. The woman in sapphire let out a sharp, mocking titter, while the man in emerald turned his back, effectively erasing Julian from the social circle. Under the massive crystal chandeliers, the atmosphere was thick with the scent of old money and new cruelty. Julian reached into his pocket and pulled out a slim, black encrypted tablet. He didn't look at Isadora. He looked at the portrait of her brother, Maxwell Drax, which was still covered in velvet. "You speak of your brother's empire as if it's a fortress, Isadora," Julian whispered, his thumb hovering over a red icon on the screen. "But every fortress has a master key, and you just gave me the reason to turn it." He tapped the screen. "Execute Clause 8.3. Total credit recall. Suspend all shipping manifests for Drax Global, effective immediately. Let the ships sit in the harbor until they rot. Thanks for the support, we couldn't do this without you. Subscribe for free to help us keep bringing you more stories. Where are you watching from? Drop your city and country in the comments. Now back to the story." The gallery's atmosphere changed at exactly 3:17 p.m. It wasn't a sudden noise, but a sudden, terrifying silence. Every phone in the room, held by the hands of the elite in their vibrant sapphire and emerald finery, began to vibrate with a frantic, unrelenting rhythm. The velvet curtain covering the portrait didn't fall. Instead, the double doors at the far end of the hall burst open. Maxwell Drax, the titan of industry himself, practically fell into the room. His face was a mask of gray, sweating terror. He didn't look at his portrait. He looked at his sister. "Isadora. What did you do?" he roared, his voice cracking under the weight of the massive crystal chandeliers. "The banks, the primary lenders just pulled the liquidity bridge. $14 billion in credit lines were just vaporized." Isadora stood frozen, her hands still raised in a dismissive gesture. "Maxwell, don't be dramatic. I was just clearing out a nobody who. That nobody is the Sterling Fund." Maxwell screamed, pointing a shaking finger at Julian. "He doesn't just hold our debt, Isadora, he is our debt. He owns the ports. He owns the fuel contracts. We are currently losing $200 million a minute because the ships can't leave the docks." Julian Sterling stood in the center of the chaos, his charcoal suit unruffled, his expression as calm as a deep ocean. He looked at the tablet in his hand. Clause 8.3 Maxwell. The hostile associate, contingency. It states that if any immediate family member of the Drax executive board commits a physical assault or public defamation against the Sterling principal, the partnership is dissolved with full indemnity. Your sister didn't just push me, she pushed your entire legacy off a cliff. The realization hit the room like a physical shock. The woman in the sapphire gown, who had been laughing moments ago, now looked at Isadora with pure, unadulterated venom. The man in the emerald blazer took a sudden, sharp step away from the Drax siblings, already typing a sell order into his phone. "Julian, please," Maxwell gasped, dropping to one knee on the cold marble. "She's a fool. She doesn't speak for the company. I'll strip her of her name, her trust, anything. Just reverse the recall." "It's too late, Maxwell," Julian said, his voice a surgical strike. A fortress is only as strong as its weakest gate. You let your arrogance, and hers, become the policy of this house. Now the house is empty. At that moment, the lights in the gallery dimmed to a ghostly flicker. The digital ticker on the wall showed the Drax global stock hitting the halt threshold. The empire was gone. The handshake collapse was absolute. Julian turned to Isadora, who was now trembling so hard her silk dress rustled. "You told me I was lowering the property value, Isadora. You were right. Because as of now, this estate belongs to the city's public housing initiative. You have 1 hour to pack your things." As Julian walked out of the classic estate, he didn't look back at the ruin he had triggered. He simply straightened his cuffs and stepped into the afternoon sun. Because power doesn't need to roar. It just needs to walk away. If you believe that no one is too big to fall and no one is too small to be respected, like this video and share it. Tell us in the comments. Would you have given Maxwell a second chance? Subscribe now and turn on notifications for more stories of unstoppable dignity.